See, this is a really tough question because I have a bias. So let me say right up front, I think if you're eating a really high oxalate diet, the risk is too high. But will some people be able to survive it and do okay? Possibly. And so do I think it would be a larger percentage though than we're looking for? Yes. So what I'd say is we know now, for instance, that smoking is bad, in the sense that it ups your risk for all kinds of conditions. My one grandmother, who was from Switzerland, lived until she was 94. She smoked for 80 plus of those years. She never died with smoking related illness. She didn't have cancer. She didn't have COPD. She didn't have nothing. So everybody should be able to smoke, right? Of course not. We know that it raises the risk. Will there be outliers? There will always be outliers, right? At this point in my life, I probably eat a lot lower oxalate even than what's recommended for a low oxalate diet because I just feel better that way. So that would put me an outlier at the low end. And then there may be people who are outliers at the high end who can take in a lot more and do okay. And typically nature does over engineer for something it knows about. So our bodies do produce some oxalate. Nature tends to over engineer for a toxin that our body produces. And so, I think our kidneys can probably handle 200, 300 milligrams of oxalate a day. Who knows, right? I don't know what the outside limit is, but they can probably handle a lot more than the 15 to 30 that we make natural, right? But can they handle that day in, day out, week in, week out? Where does things break down? One of the things that does make me wonder a lot is the research on kidney stones shows that if people have metabolic syndrome, obesity, or diabetes, that they're at much higher risk for kidney stones. There's some kind of connection there between oxalate and that kind of issue. Well, we've got epidemic levels of overweight, metabolic syndrome, and diabetes in the population. Yeah. So could this be everybody? I'd say it's not outside the realm of possibility. Wow. And I think when you look at long-term vegans, you start to see that as they get older, they may have chronic inflammatory conditions. They may not realize it's oxalate related, but how much of our arthritis is oxalate related? There is research that links arthritis to oxalate. How many plant-based women in particular have ended up with something like breast cancer? Yeah. Microcalcifications in the breast are linked to oxalate. So there's so many things that we just haven't been looking for. So I don't know what's going to happen when we start to look. So I'm not willing to say that nobody could eat a more plant-based, higher oxalate kind of approach and be okay, but I would certainly want to dodge the bullet. I think that over the next, who knows how long, hopefully we become aware of the fact that there is this risk. And then you can choose. Do I want to eat a higher oxalate diet? Am I willing to give up some of these things in order to reduce my risk? And maybe I am, right? Yeah. And so I'm also all about hoping that people get a choice here by understanding enough about it that they can say, well, I really love my almond flour based brownies. I'm going to keep eating them. But at least you can't say you didn't know, right? That's right. I mean, I'm sort of saying, let's at least know what that risk is.